Good morning, everybody. My name is Andrzej Chrecharowicz. I welcome you on the first International E-Sport Conference. I am responsible for this conference. If you have any problem, that's why please ask me. But now I invite President of Student Clubs of University Wrocław Economics, Professor Czesław Zając. Floor is yours.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my real, maybe in this way, it's my real pleasure and privilege to welcome all of you for, as Andrzej said, for our first e-sport conference. It's historical event in my opinion. I would like to express a lot of thanks for all our distinguished guests who accepted our invitation, and you are with us today. We know that not all of our potential participants can come to Wrocław due to I'm thinking about colleagues from Ukraine, but we know the situation. Let me welcome Professor Andrzej Kaleta, my rector of our University of Economics and Business in Wrocław. Professor Yevgeny Imas, rector of the University of Sport in Kiev. Professor Zdenek Ledwina and delegation from Karol University from Prague. You are welcome. Professor Aneta Stosik, Dean of our Academy of Sport in Wrocław. President Marian Dymalski, member of our Olympic Committee in Poland and member of EUSA organization, FISU organization, of course. Adam Mroczek, president of EUSA, you are welcome. Marcin Wójcik, yes, president of HCS, you are welcome as well. And not distinguished, but not plenotitulo, but in gremio, I would like to welcome everybody. I'm convinced, ladies and gentlemen, our friends, that e-sport is growing, so probably this is real future as alternative for, let's say, live sport and live activity, but looking at the processes of digitalization and new technology development, it's real situation, it's reality. So let me say at the end of my short speech, let me say that I'm sure that profits of 2 days or 3 days meeting in Wrocław in our event, our conference will deliver us a lot of very profitable effects. It will be profitable in many sense. So I wish you a very good time. I wish you good fruits of also from scientific point of view, because we are also researchers, scientists. So from scientific point of view as well, we wish you all good profits. Thank you for your attention, and I would like to ask Professor Grzegorz Krzos, my colleague, to start with program and presentation. Thank you. Grzegorz.
Thank you very much. So, opening ceremony is already done, Mr. Professor. Thank you very much indeed. So, I'm really glad that we can meet each other. We are focusing on e-sport today and tomorrow. So, I would like to emphasize the key events, key task, to key objective which we are going to obtain during these 2 days. So let me show the first important event is signing the Memorandum of Understanding European University Sports Association and Sports Students Union from Ukraine. Second, we will start with the presentation, and today we are mainly focused on, let's say, to show others the activity of the national teams of esports. The second, to find some interesting way to make a scientific research to prepare the grants for academics and for students. I warmly welcome students because these people are very important for esport because they are mainly the players. And we will try to also define some project for EU grants, for EU subvention. So this is the first key task in the first stage of our conference. The second, we will follow more to seminars, to workshop, and our key objectives is to create a new business project for esport. Because esport is very competitive. So that's why we try to do hard job to find a way to develop esport business ideas in 4 disciplines. So table tennis, it's mainly focused on Europe and Asian market. Tennis, we have the best players in the world. Second is dancing. We will also have champions in dancing, and we will try to digitalize this sport. And chess also, it's already done, but we see some gap on the market, so we will try to fulfill this gap by our ideas. And basketball, we will also have one of the best players in basketball tomorrow, so we will see what we can do together. So, first of all, I would like to invite Rector Evgeny Imas and Professor Oksana Shkankuk, to sign the Memorandum of Understanding European University Sports Association and Sports Student Union. Please, you are warmly welcome.
In the meantime, just hello, Adam Roczek from European University Sports Association. I just wanted to underline that the cooperation between EUSA and Kiev University of Sport Tourism National University is already ongoing since a few years. I'm also would like to say that Mr. Imas is a member of the Executive Committee of European University Sport Associations, and we truly believe that working together we also develop e-sport, but not just to be digitalized, because this is very important, a physical component of the e-sport, and this is something what particularly Mr. Imas is focusing on, and this is the aim of this agreement. So, Grzegorz, I'm giving the micro.
Thank you. So I hope the science will give a lot of success in the collaboration, international collaboration, and develop esports and student engagement very much. Okay. So. Okay. So, Professor. So, now is a high time for first presentation. So please let me welcome Rector Professor Evgeny Imas to present us the presentation of E-Sport from National University of Ukraine and Physical Education and Sport in Kiev.
Thank you very much. Шановні друзі, організатори і учасники конференції, ми вдячні за можливість бути сьогодні присутніми на цій конференції. Протягом останніх 10 років стрімко зростає популярність кіберспорту, який набуває ознак фундаментального елементу сучасної цифрової культури в глобалізованому світі.
Dear participants and guests of the conference, over the past 10 years, the popularity of esports has been growing rapidly, and it's acquiring characteristics of a fundamental element of modern digital culture in a globalized world.
Зараз на планеті цим видом спорту займається майже 500 мільйона осіб. Кіберспорт за своїм потенціалом можна сміливо прирівняти до олімпійських видів спорту. Значущість кіберспорту як соціального явища та масштаби його розвитку формують потребу у вивченні особливостей усіх його аспектів.
Currently, almost 500 million people are engaged in this sport worldwide. In terms of its potential, esports can be safely compared to Olympic sports. The importance of esports as a social phenomenon and the scale of its development create the need to study the peculiarities of all its aspects.
Електронний спорт – це нове покоління командних спортивних змагань, де боротьба за першість перенесена у цифрову площину. Вказаний вид спорту розвивається неймовірно швидко і вже підкорило мільйони гравців та вболівальників. Визначальним аспектом у розвитку кіберспорту є освоєння засобів комунікації, що визначають тенденції розвитку та розкривають його економічні можливості. Зазначимо, що цифрові спільноти працюють інакше, ніж аналогові. Вони успішно завойовують нові цільові аудиторії, за які борються численні медіакомпанії.
Electronic sports is a new generation of team sports competitions where the fight for supremacy is transferred to the digital plane. A defining aspect in esports development is implementation of communication tools that determine its growing trends and reveal its economic potential. It should be noted that digital communities work differently than similar ones. They successfully gain new target audiences for which numerous media companies are fighting.
Оскільки традиційні медіаоператори, наприклад, телебачення, відмовляли кіберспорту у розміщенні контенту на своїх телевізійних станціях, галузь вимушена була діяти інноваційно та створювала нові способи споживання медикаменту. Ця трансформація сприяла зміні споживання засобів масової інформації, що призвело до створення екосистеми, в якій традиційне телебачення не має значення для ефірного мовлення. Індустрія кіберспорту поширила межі медіаекосистеми та створила власний медіаконтент. Кіберспорт вийшов за рамки традиційних видів спорту, засобів масової інформації, розваг та культури.
As traditional media operators, such as television, denied as esports content placement on their television stations, the industry was forced to innovate and create new ways of consuming media content. The esports industry has pushed the boundaries of media ecosystem and created its own media content. Esports has gone beyond traditional sports, mass media, entertainment and culture.
Кіберспортивні змагання підтримують світові бренди Lenovo Nike, Louis Vuitton, Toyota, LG Ultra Gear тощо. Світовий ринок кіберспорту не припиняє розвиватися. Будучи зосередженим в Азії, Європи і Північної Америки, він надає значні можливості для видавців, брендів та інших представників індустрії, зокрема правоохоронних органів з кібербезпеки. Найбільш успішні гравці укладають контракти з кіберспортивними організаціями і стають професійними геймерами. Кількість геймерів у всьому світі продовжує зростати і до 2023 року перевищить мільярди членів.
Esports competitions are supported by global brands Lenovo, Nike, Louis Vuitton, Toyota, LG Ultra Gear, etc. The world market of esports does not stop developing. With a focus in Asia, Europe, and North America, it provides significant opportunities for developers, brands, and other industry players, including cybersecurity, law enforcement. The number of gamers around the world continues to grow and will exceed 3 billion by 2023.
Інтерес до кіберспорту посилюється в авторитетних міжнародних федераціях футболу, баскетболу, хокею з шайбою та інших. Міжнародний олімпійський комітет також проявляє увагу до нього. Ще на саміті Міжнародного олімпійського комітету в жовтні 2017 року визнана зростаючою популярність кіберспорту та зроблено висновок, що змагальний кіберспорт можна розглядати як спортивну діяльність, і залучені гравці готуються та тренуються з інтенсивністю, яка може бути порівняною для спортсменів у традиційних видів спорту. Але потрібні будь-які ігри, що використовуються для встановлення Олімпійських ігор з правилами та положеннями олімпійського руху. Міжнародний олімпійський комітет вивчив наявні можливості для включення його до майбутніх Олімпійських ігор. Було перевірено потенціал кіберспорту за допомогою виставкових ігор. За підтримки Міжнародного олімпійського комітету компанія Intel спонсорувала виставкові електронні спортивні заходи для StarCraft 2 та СТИП перед зимовими Олімпійськими іграми 2018 року в Пхьончхані. А 5 гравців південно-корейського електронік спорту були частиною естафети Олімпійського факела. Подібна виставка Electronic Games була проведена паралельно з Олімпійськими іграми 2016 року в Ріо-де-Жанейро. Лідери Японії, враховуючи репутацію країни як головного центру індустрії відеоігор, брали активну участь у проведенні кіберспортивних ігор на Олімпійських іграх 2021 року. Зокрема, Олімпійський організаційний комітет Токіо організував ряд кіберспортивних подій з автогонок, бейсболу, веслування, велосипедного та вітрильного спорту. Важною з них керував визнаний Міжнародний олімпійський комітет як орган управління спортом разом з видавцем відеоігор для цього виду спорту.
Interest in esports is increasing among international federations of football, basketball, ice hockey, and others. The International Olympic Committee is also paying attention to it. The IOC studied the possibility for esports inclusion in the future Olympic Games. The potential of esports was tested with the help of exhibition games. The support of the IOC, Intel-sponsored exhibition esports events for StarCraft 2 and STEEP ahead of 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympics, and 5 South Korean esports players took part in the Olympic torch relay. A similar exhibition, E-Games, was held in simultaneously with 2016 Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. Japan's leaders, given the country's reputation as a major hub for video game industry, have been actively involved in hosting esports games at 2021 Olympics.
В умовах сьогодення можна виділити 6 рис притаманних індустрії кіберспорту, а саме: перше, люди, які займаються кіберспортом, дуже зосереджені на постановці цілей. Друге, орієнтація на ринок має глобальний характер. Третє, кіберспорт орієнтований на постійні зміни. Четверте, розподіл ресурсів відбувається вертикально знизу до гори. П'яте, учасники надмірно енергійні, надмірно захоплені та динамічні. Шосте, діджиталізація є невід'ємною частиною кіберспорту.
In today's conditions, 6 features inherent in the esports industry can be identified. Namely, people involved in esports are very focused on setting goals. Market orientation is global in nature. Esports is focused towards constant changes. Resources are distributed vertically from bottom to top. Participants are overly energetic, enthusiastic, and dynamic. Digitalization is an integrational part of esports.
Актуалізується проблема кадрового забезпечення цього виду спорту. Тренери, менеджери, психологи, професіонали з профільною освітою і розумінням специфіки кіберспорту практично відсутні.
The issue of staff in this sport, namely coaches, managers, psychologists, is urgent. Professionals having specialized education and understanding of esports specifics are almost unavailable.
Низка країн визнали кіберспорт на державному рівні. Тут запроваджено відповідні освітні програми. Залучені молоді до кіберспорту, організація та проведення відповідних спортивних змагань. Сучасний тренд планетарного значення. В Україні мережеві ігри та змагання, з них виникли ще наприкінці 90-х років минулого століття.
A number of countries have recognized esports at the state level, and appropriate curriculum has been introduced there. In Ukraine, network games and corresponding competitions appeared at the end of the 90s of the last century.
На сучасному етапі свої зусилля на розвиток та популяризацію кіберспорту в Україні спрямовує Федерація електронного спорту України, ЮСЕФ, що була зареєстрована в січні 2018 року та станом на сьогодні має відокремлені підрозділи у 23 адміністративно-територіальних одиниць України. За час діяльності Федерацією було організовано та проведено понад 200 турнірів та змагань всеукраїнського та міжнародного рівнів, підписано ряд спонсорських угод, як з вітчизняними, так і закордонними компаніями банківського, промислового та інтелектуального секторів, налагоджено партнерські зв'язки з міжнародними кіберспортивними організаціями, що надало можливість обміну безцінним досвідом, отриманим у процесі формування системи кіберспорту.
Currently, Ukrainian Esports Federation, which was registered in January 2018 and as of today has separate units in 23 administrative and territorial units of Ukraine, focuses its efforts on the development and popularization of esports in Ukraine. Over 200 tournaments and competitions of all Ukrainian and international levels were organized and held since the federation establishment. A number of sponsorship agreements have been signed with both domestic and foreign companies of banking, industrial and IT sectors.
З початку свого заснування представники Федерації вели перемовини з Міністерством молоді та спорту України стосовно статусу кіберспорту у нашій країні. 16 вересня 2020 року Міністерство молоді і спорту України в установленому порядку офіційно визнало кіберспорт, електронний спорт як самостійний вид спорту.
Since its establishment, representatives of the Federation held negotiations with the Ministry of Youth and Sports of Ukraine regarding the official status of esports in our country. On September the 16th, 2020, the Ministry of Youth and Sports of Ukraine officially recognized electronic sports as a separate kind of sport.
Наступним кроком у розвитку цього виду спорту стало те, що 26 січня 2021 року Міністерство молоді та спорту України офіційно затвердили загальні правила змагань з кіберспорту, що були розроблені Федерацією на основі правил Міжнародної федерації кіберспорту ЮСЕФ та інших іноземних федерацій і видавців ігор, а також з урахуванням особистого досвіду проведення заходів. Цей крок заклав основу формування нормативно-правової бази українського кіберспорту.
The next step in the development of this sport was the fact that on the 26th of January 2021, the Ministry of Youth and Sports of Ukraine officially approved general rules of esports competitions developed by the Federation, the International Federation. This step resulted in formation of regulatory and legal framework of Ukrainian esports.
Федерація активно працює над створенням інфраструктури, для чого було відкрито сучасні кіберарени у містах Дніпро та Харків, які дозволяють не тільки розвивати навички молодих гравців та команд, а й проводити кіберспортивні турніри на національному та міжнародних рівнях, маючи для цього необхідне сучасне обладнання, потужні ігрові комп'ютери, широкоформатні екрани для трансляції турніру для вболівальників, місця для суддів та коментаторів, що дозволяє транслювати хід чемпіонату онлайн через мережу інтернет.
The Federation is actively working on the creation of infrastructure for which modern cyber arenas were opened in the cities of Dnipro and Kharkiv. The latter allows not only to develop the skills of young players and teams, but also to hold esports tournaments on the national and international levels. This also allows broadcasting the course of championships online via the internet.
Також у 2020 році було запущено україномовну студію для трансляції в мережах інтернет національних та міжнародних кіберспортивних змагань. Федерацією спільно з Національним університетом фізичного виховання і спорту України здійснено низку заходів та розроблено проєкт навчальної програми для дитячо-юнацьких спортивних шкіл «Кіберспорт, електронік спорт», який подано на розгляд Міністерства молоді та спорту України.
Also, in 2020, a Ukrainian language studio was launched to broadcast national and international esports competitions on the internet. The Federation, together with the National University of Ukraine on Physical Education and Sport, carried out a number of activities and developed a project of curriculum for children and youth sports schools, E-Sportu, Electronic Sport.
Ще одна організація, Українська професійна кіберспортивна асоціація, IPI, яку було створено у травні 2020 року. Її засновниками стали Na'Vi, компанія, Mindcat, Wayplay eSports, Кіберзон Азус, Starladder, Гімназіада Company. Місією асоціації визначено створення можливостей для кожного громадянина України стати частиною кіберспортивної екосистеми. IPI у вересні 2020 року було представлено стратегію розвитку кіберспорту в країні 2020-2025 років. Сьогодні організація реалізує низку міжнародних та всеукраїнських проєктів. З представниками дитячого фонду ЮНІСЕФ в Україні започатковано рекомендації для індустрії онлайн-ігор на базі глобальних рекомендацій. З міжнародними благодійними фондами «Життя з надлишком» започаткували соціально орієнтований напрям, фокус соціальних проєктів, спрямований на ті групи населення України, що потребують особливої уваги усього суспільства, а саме громадян України пенсійного віку, військовослужбовців і учасників бойових дій. Необхідно зазначити, що станом на сьогодні кіберспорт в Україні, порівняно з іншими країнами Кореї, США, Китай, досить молодий вид, який, безумовно, має великий інвестиційний та змагальний потенціал. Як це можна бачити на прикладах інших країн, в яких кіберспорт є розвинутою спортивною індустрією. Кіберспортивні організації України докладають максимум зусиль для підняття рівня кіберспортивної екосистеми в межах України на якісно новий рівень, який не буде поступатися іншим країнам.
Another organization is the Ukrainian Professional Esports Association, which was created in May 2020. Its founders were Na'Vi, Maincast, WePlay Esports, Cyberzone Aces, Starladder, Gemeinsitz UA. The mission is to create opportunities for every citizen of Ukraine to become a part of the esports ecosystem. Today, the organization implements a number of international and national projects. For example, recommendations for online game industry based on global recommendations that have been already launched. Together with international charity foundation Life of Access, a social-oriented direction of work has been launched. The focus of social projects is aimed at those groups of Ukrainian population that need special attention of the whole society. It should be noted that as of today, esports in Ukraine compared to other countries, Korea, the US, China, is a fairly young kind of sport which certainly has great investment and competitive potential.
Тенденціями розвитку кіберспорту в Україні можна визначити поширення впізнавання поняття кіберспорт в Україні з 4,5 до 11%, залучення інвестицій у кіберспорти та геймінг України у розмірі до $20 мільйонів США на рік, збільшення існуючої аудиторії випадкових глядачів з 1 мільйона до 2,5 мільйонів. кіберспортивних ентузіастів з 0,7 мільйонів до 1,3 мільйонів. Офіційно зробити кіберспорт другою дисципліною за популярністю після футболу. Збільшення кількості кіберспортивних команд та гравців. Збільшення кількості проведення міжнародних кіберспортивних турнірів. Відкриття україномовних кіберспортивних студій трансляції контенту.
Trends in e-sport development in Ukraine can be defined as follows. A spread of e-sports concept awareness in Ukraine from 4.5 to 11%. Engagement of investments in e-sport and gaming of Ukraine within the frame of up to $20 million per year. Growth of current audience. Casual viewers from 1.1 million to 2.5 million. E-sports enthusiasts from 0.7 million to 1.3 million. Officially makes esports the second most popular discipline after football. Increase in the number of esports teams and players. Increase in the number of held international esports tournaments. Opening of Ukrainian language esports content broadcasting studios.
Кіберспорт покликаний посісти гідне місце у вітчизняної системи освіти. Національний університет фізичного виховання і спорту України активно розвиває напрямок інформаційних технологій кіберспорту. Одним з перших закладів вищої освіти виступив з ініціативою підготовки кадрів з кіберспорту, розвитку кіберспорту як виду спорту в Україні. Плідна співпраця з Федерацією кіберспорту України створила передумови для започаткування освітньо-професійних програм кіберспорту для першого бакалаврського та другого магістерських рівнів, розробки навчальної програми для суб'єктів дитячого та резервного спорту з кіберспорту. Університет підтримав ініціативи щодо визнання кіберспорту як виду спорту.
The National University of Ukraine on Physical Education and Sport is actively developing the area of information technologies and esports. It was one of the first institutions of higher education that took the initiative to train esports personnel and develop esports as a sport in Ukraine. Fruitful cooperation with the Ukrainian Esports Federation was a prerequisite for launching educational and professional curriculum esports for the bachelor's and master's degrees.
Розвиток кіберспорту в університеті пов'язано з необхідністю формування безпечного середовища для занять кіберспортом і спортом на основі поєднання ігор перед екраном з різними видами рухової активності, що дозволяють компенсувати негативні наслідки для організму тривалої фізичної бездіяльності, наявна матеріально-технічна база та висококваліфікований кадровий потенціал університету спроможний вирішити ці питання.
The development of esports at the university is related to the need of creating safe environment for esports based on the combination of games in front of the screen within various types of motor activity. The latter allows to compensate negative consequences of prolonged physical inactivity for a human body.
В університеті є базова кафедра кіберспорту та інформаційних технологій, яка інтегрує в собі сучасні знання з кіберспорту, комп'ютерних технологій та інновацій. У 2020 році нами вперше в Україні започатковано підготовку здобувачів ступеня магістра за освітньо-професійною програмою кіберспорт. З 2021 року розпочато підготовку майбутніх бакалаврів зі спеціалізації кіберспорт, а на базі відокремленого структурного підрозділу Олімпійський фаховий коледж Національного університету фізичного виховання і спорту України заплановано відкриття спеціалізованих класів з кіберспорту для школярів. Такий підхід забезпечить наскрізну систему підготовки спортсменів високого класу та необхідних кадрів для розвитку кіберспорту.
The university has a fundamental department of esports and information technologies, which integrates current knowledge of esports, computer technologies, and innovations. In 2019, for the first time in Ukraine, we launched training of students for master degree majoring in esports. Since 2021, training of prospective bachelor major in esports is conducted. This approach will provide an end-to-end system of training elite athletes and the necessary personnel for esports development.
Загалом, за спеціальністю спеціалізація кіберспорт і спорт в 2022 році у нас навчаються 116 студентів, з них на першому бакалаврському рівні 59 студентів, на другому рівні вищої освіти здобувають відповідну кваліфікацію 57 студентів. У грудні 2021 року здійснено перший випуск 14 магістра фізичної культури і спорту за спеціальністю кіберспорт і спорт.
In total, in 2022, we have got 116 students studying in the major of 17 physical culture and sports, specializing in esports. Among them, 59 students are currently taking bachelor's degree course. 57 students are obtaining the appropriate qualification at the second level of higher education for gaining master.
Фахівцям університету видано колективну монографію «Кіберспорт» та проєкт навчальної програми для суб'єктів дитячо-юнацького та резервного спорту з кіберспорту, який підтримано Федерацією кіберспорту України, Федерацією електронного спорту України та Українською професійною кіберспортивною асоціацією. Готується низка навчальної та навчально-методичної літератури для забезпечення освітнього процесу. На кафедрі здійснюється науково-дослідна робота за темою теоретико-методологічні засади розвитку кіберспорту та інтелектуальних видів спорту.
University experts published a collective monograph, E-Sports, and a draft curriculum for subjects of children's and youth and reserve sports on esports, which was supported by Ukrainian Esports Federation and the Ukrainian Professional Esports Association. A number of educational and teaching methodological resources is being prepared right now.
В університеті створено матеріально-технічні умови для підготовки фахівців за спеціалізацією кіберспорт, освітній навчально-тренувальний та науковий процес здійснюється в двох спеціалізованих кіберкласах на 17 та 15 місць, облаштованих новітніми комп'ютерними ігровими обладнанням для отримання здобувачами фахових компетентностей. Для розширення матеріально-технічних можливостей спеціалізованих кіберкласів університет та безпосередньо кафедра співпрацюють з компаніями LG Ultra та Leo Coming, які виступили партнерами освітнього процесу.
The university has created material and technical facilities for training specialists specializing in esports. The educational, training, and scientific process is carried out in two specialized esports classes for 17 and 15 seats. The partners of these programs are LG Ultra and Leo Gaming companies.
Університетом налагоджено тісну співпрацю з кіберполіцією, забезпечено активну участь наших студентів в інформаційному протистоянні російському агресору.
The university established close cooperation with cyber police, which has ensured active participation of our students in the informational confrontation with the Russian aggressor.
Усвідомлюючи актуальність і важливість комплексної взаємодії органів державної влади та інших організацій в умовах реформування системи вищої освіти та науки, впровадження цифрових інновацій та технологій, прагнучи до встановлення взаємовигідних відносин, співробітництва та партнерства, університет виступив з ініціативою щодо створення та забезпечення функціонування наукового центру з кіберспорту, електронного спорту, як структурного підрозділу Національного університету фізичного виховання і спорту України при сприянні і співробітництві Міністерства освіти і науки та Міністерства цифрової трансформації України. Реалізація цієї ідеї, як нам видається, дозволить забезпечити формування сучасної системи наукових знань щодо ефективного поєднання ігор перед екраном з різними видами рухової активності для компенсування негативних наслідків для організму людини тривалої фізичної бездіяльності, педагогічних, психологічних та медико-біологічних аспектів, підвищення спортивної майстерності геймерів та для гідної репрезентації України на міжнародному рівні, особливостей підготовки тренерів та інших фахівців з кіберспорту і електронного спорту. За цілеспрямованої підтримки Міністерства освіти і науки України і цифрової трансформації України наш університет обґрунтує наукові засади та впровадить наукові результати в практику з таких проблем. формування безпечного середовища для занять кіберспортом, електронним спортом, дітей та молоді, осіб зрілого віку, розроблення сучасних цифрових інновацій та технологій спортивного характеру, нових дисциплін кіберспорту, електронного спорту. Оптимізація підготовки збірних команд України, школярів та студентів з кіберспорту для участі в міжнародних спортивних заходах. Підвищення якості підготовки та безперервного професійного розвитку тренерів та інших фахівців з кіберспорту.
Being aware of relevance and importance of complex interaction with state authorities and other organizations, the university took the initiative to create and ensure functioning of the Scientific Center and esports as a structural subdivision of the university with the assistance and cooperation with the Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine and the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine. It will ensure formation of a modern system of scientific knowledge regarding an effective combination of games in front of the screen with various types of motor activity. Pedagogical, psychological, and medico-biological aspects of improving the game's sportsmanship, and peculiarities of training coaches and other esports specialists. With the support of Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine and the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, our university implements scientific results into practice on the following issues: formation of a safe environment for esports for children and youth, as well as adults, development of modern digital innovations and technologies of a sport nature, new esports disciplines, optimizing training of national teams of Ukraine school children and students in esports for participation in international sport events, improving the quality of training and continuous professional development of coaches and other esports specialists.
На завершення дозвольте висловити впевненість, що діяльність університету дасть відповіді на сучасні виклики цифрової трансформації різних аспектів життєдіяльності та забезпечить досягнення синергетичного ефекту. Дякую за увагу.
In conclusion, let me reassure you that activities of the introduced center will provide appropriate feedback to modern challenges of digital transformation of our life today and ensure the achievement of a synergetic effect. Thank you for your attention.
No. It's you or later? Okay. Thank you very much. So, sorry for a little changes in our schedule. So I would like to warmly invite the Dean, Professor Aneta Stosik, just to tell us about Wrocław University of Sport and Health. Welcome.
Welcome. Few words from my rector. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the head of the University of Health and Science in Wrocław, I have the honor and pleasure to welcome you to the first international conference, Contemporary Challenges and Dilemmas of Esports, organized together with the academic community, city authorities, businesses, as well as the community of sports clubs in Wrocław. There has long been a debate as to whether e-sport is real sport. Undeniably, its popularity has grown exponentially in recent years and has become a business phenomenon in the global economy. E-sport evokes many controversial emotions. In the environment of athletes, coaches, and scientists, but e-sport is more than a sport discipline transferred to the virtual world. It is also generates strong emotions for the fans and for the players themselves. There are many differences between traditional sports and electronic sports, but the common denominators is competition and the drive to be the best in a given field. So let's start a discussion on what esports is in today's world. Let's think about how to develop this phenomenon in Poland, and let's expand our knowledge in this subject. I hope that this conference will generate good debate and that you will end the day with a better understanding for this phenomenon in the world, in Poland also. Thank you very much for attention, and good luck, good day, and enjoy yourself in esports in Poland. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. So I would like to warmly welcome our friends from Czech. So the head of e-sport will be presented by the presentation of e-sport from Charles University in Prague. So włącz prezentację może, tę naszą. Okej, tam się podłączy. Okej. Ale to nie ma wejścia. Czekaj, tylko poprzełączamy to, żeby to zadziałało. Ty musisz to robić, bo ludzie nie wiedzą, jak się to przełącza. Słyszysz? Bo ludzie nie wiedzą. So the floor is yours. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I am really very excited to see how another countries work with e-sport, and I think for us it's a really big inspiration and motivation. Before then I introduce myself and my department, I will ask you about understanding and passion, because of my English it's not on same level like Shakespeare English, but I hope that you will understand everything I will show you. For first time, yeah, it's just for fun. My background was martial arts and education, but I think in our faculty, the big reason why I am head of e-sport department is that in 2016 I was chosen to role of God of War, Kratos, to official document of PlayStation. Yeah, that's my background. Never mind, it's okay. In our faculty, I am head of academic department of e-sport, but in Czech Republic we have Czech Association of e-sport, and in this association I help with education of trainers. It's almost 2 years ago. Czech Association of e-sports make big steps to Czech sports, and I think it's same like in other countries. There are some rules which the sports association must keep. Thank you. must keep, like anti-doping, like education trainers, referees, and growing children grassroots and something like it. And it's a main topic of our faculty to help another association to improve their role in Czech environment. Yeah, because of we are sports faculty. I think you know there is a big speech about e-sport. Is sport or not? In our faculty, we made a big discussion about this topic, and now we know that our main attitude is that we bring sports and life balance to e-sport environment. During the e-sport trainers, coaches, during the summer camps for children, which include e-sport and sport, and some topics about nutrition, psychologics, and etc. Yeah, and you know, nobody tell you you are okay than you, and there is some achievements of our department. The one of the best, I think, is our international ships. From last year, it was almost in the same date, we start our traveling around the world. The first travel was to Finland, to Kajaani, in University of Kajaani, and they are focused on e-sport during the management of e-sport. After that, we will we traveled to Staffordshire University at London. They are focused on management and development of e-sport games. After that, I was in Spain in division of football club Barcelona. And the last travel was almost 3 weeks ago. We were in Trento, University of Trento. They are using e-sport and digital sport for inclusion, to connect handicapped people with normal people. And this traveling, it was almost 36,000 of kilometers per whole year. We learn from the best, and I think now we know how we can help Czech e-sport and Czech e-sport environment. But it's not about it that sport to help e-sport. E-sport can help sport and publics, because there are a lot of benefits from digital, from gaming, and now we make some cooperation from commercial partners like Microsoft, Logitech, Alza, etc. Yeah, I think it's really useful to show you our department is built on 4 pillars. Education, we educate e-sport trainers, e-sport referees, but not just e-sporter. We teach our students in our faculty to see new opportunities. How can condition trainer, how can physiotherapist, how can another jobs to help or to cooperate with e-sport environment. And now we know we use another departments of our faculty, like physiotherapist, like handicaps education, like athletics, and we choose the some best best research from this department for this cooperation. Physiotherapists, we use ergonomics. From handicaps education, we use inclusion. For athletics department, we use training for condition, for better skills like flexibilities, like I think you know, it's education pillars. Another pillars is science and research. Now we make two research. One is stakeholder analysis of Czech e-sport environments, and we are looking for stakeholders from whole Czech Republic, like government, like organizers, teams, players, and we are asking them about opportunities and threats. Yeah, and after that we will know where is when we can help to Czech e-sport, or on other side how we use Czech academic the environment to help e-sporters. Yeah, and second research is. In our faculty, we know that you are a football player or athletes. If you train maybe 20 hours per week, you will be better and better. But in e-sport, we don't know now, and it's up to my colleagues that they are looking for this opportunities how to increase level of our e-sporter in Czech Republic. I told you about inclusion. We use our department of handicaps education, and now we prepare cooperation with commercial partners, Microsoft and Logitech, and we start on January next year to make some research how e-sport and digital sport can help and make more better life to handicapped people. And last one, but I think it's really interest. It's our events, and it's Czech events or international events, and we will show you the video. Yeah, it was international battle between Czech Republic, Charles University, and Staffordshire University, London. It was split to two battles. One of in League of Legends. It was e-sport, and the second one was sport. It was 8 exercises. They are unified for all world, and after you finished these exercises, you know that your limits are under your age or upper your age. And I see a lot of opportunities in e-sport. We use a lot of our students because, yeah, you know, this ages is they play e-sport games. Me not. Before I was Kratos, I don't know who is Kratos. And our students develop our department, and they help us to be better on the e-sport environment in Czech Republic. Yeah, and you see, it was really fun. You can try it. And for us, it was really useful to know that Staffordshire University, which is focused on development of e-sport games, they see that your life balance, your health is really important for your e-sporter skills. Yeah, and in our faculty, I saw it in my colleague from Ukraine. We put gaming and sport together. The name is G-Sport. You can see it on my chest, and I think this sentence is you know it, and. In Czech Republic now we make some pilots project to put together e-sport games and sport games. We have big support from Czech television, Czech national television. They told us that in Czech national television, it's not a space for games like Counter-Strike, League of Legends. They is killing or something like it. But they are focused on games there which is include sport like FIFA, like NHL. And for next year will be world champion in ice hockey, and our faculty will prepare some content for this tournament, and we put the sport to e-sport. Yeah, I think you can read it, and after that I will speak. But I think it's really important to know that we don't want to turn gamers away from gaming. We know that e-sport is here, and it's up to us how we use it. It's the best medium to tell young people that there is sport, there is another opportunities how they can increase their e-sport levels. Yeah, and this is another our commercial partner, E-Sport for Students, and you can see this is the first outdoor center in Czech Republic, and you can play Counter-Strike, and after that you can go on this outdoor stadium with laser guns and use some skills which you use in the e-sport game. Yeah, this is the for first time it's premiere of our G-Sport movie. You can see it. Enjoy. I hope enjoy.
Zlepši se díky sportu v e-sportu. Pojď do toho s námi. Registruj se.
Yeah, you can see we. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it was 2 ways of e-sport: old school e-sporter and new type of e-sporter. And I think we know that the best way is the second way. Yeah, and our Planet project for next year, you can see e-sport coaches courses in this day, and next Friday we'll finish our academic Czech championship in e-sport. It's under the Czech Association of Czech Association of Sports. Andrej, you know it is under the FISU. And we will have first Czech academic championship in Czech Republic. After that, now we are in the last phase of preparation our e-sport classroom in our faculty. And it's not about playing game. We use this classroom for research because we are in cooperation with Czech commercial partners like Alza. I told you about Microsoft, Logitech, and we will make some research about ergonomics of table, chairs, and mouses, and something like it. And same like you in Poland, you will inspire you, and we will prepare a conference of e-sport in our faculty in Prague. And the last one, I think you see the G-Sport, and we will prepare in Czech Republic the first tournament of G-Sport. And thank you for your attention, and I hope that we will make some cooperation and collaboration and enjoy this conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much for a very interesting comparison. You inspire us very much. The pitch deck was perfect. So, please, once again, the university from Ukraine, professor, will follow the presentation of e-sport.
Thank you. Good morning. My pleasure presentation to Ukraine National University of Ukraine Physical Education and Sport. I'm head of e-sport and information technology department. My presentation have two parts. Кіберспорт сьогодні – це незалежний продукт цифровізації.
E-sport is an independent product of digitalization with its own principles and rules.
Галузь дуже неоднорідна. З точки зору змісту відеоігор, способу гри в них, стратегії видавця, що стоїть за кожною з екосистеми кіберспортивної дисципліни. Тому має кілька різних універсальних стандартів. Сучасному кіберспорту сьогодні налічується десь 25 років. Таким чином, можна сказати, що кіберспорт – це молода і постійна галузь, яка постійно розвивається завдяки технічному прогресу.
Esports is highly heterogeneous in terms of content of video games, the way they are played, and so on. Modern esports is about 25 years old. The industry is therefore relatively young, and it's constantly and rapidly developing due to technological progress.
Якщо ми подивимось з вами, яка динаміка зростання гравців сьогодні, то починаючи з 2015 року в такій динаміці, ми побачимо з вами, що кількість гравців постійно зростає, в цьому році вона складає вже понад 3 мільярди.
In 2022, the number of players in the world is more than 3 billion people. The growth of players from 2015 to 2024 indicates positive dynamics. By year 2025, the number of players will grow by 5.6%.
У 2022 році можемо сказати, що світова аудиторія глядачів зросте понад 8% і досягне більше 500 мільйонів глядачів.
In 2022, the global esports audience will grow by 8.7% and reach 532 million. In 2025, the total audience will exceed 640 million.
Кіберспорт дуже популярний серед молоді. Якщо ми з вами подивимось на вікову динаміку, то можна сказати, що індустрія кіберспорту охоплює демографічну групу молодше 35 років. Сьогодні аудиторія гравців, вона коливається від 10 до 65 років. І найбільша вікова категорія гравців – це 21-35 років. Як чоловіки, так і жінки. Різниця стосовно чоловіків і жінок, як гендерна така, 66% чоловіки і 34% жінок, які грають в комп'ютерні ігри.
Esports is very popular among young people. The audience of players by age is 10 to 65 years old. The largest age category of players is 21 to 35 years old, and the proportion in gender is 66% of men and 34% of women.
Сучасне покоління, яке сьогодні грає в ігри, практично 80%, понад 80% постійно грають в ігри. Вони витрачають більше вільного часу на ігри, ніж на якесь інше дозвілля. Окрім цього, за даними Джути Якоб, яка досліджувала це питання, вона дослідила, що в цілому все покоління, яке грає в різні ігри, займається на тиждень, грає десь понад 7 годин. Причому, що молоде покоління, воно готове витрачати гроші на ігри і вважає, що це частина їхнього соціального життя, спілкування і ідентичності цього покоління.
According to Jutta Jacobs' research, 80% of modern generation consumers play games. 81% gamers play on average 7 hours 20 minutes. 70% of players are ready to spend money on games. For modern generation, games are communication, viewing, and community participation. 75% of modern generation games watch game-related videos and streams. Games are an important part of everyday social life and identity of modern generation.
Сьогодні дуже багато роблять порівнянь між традиційними видами спорту, до яких ми звикли, і до електронного спорту. Якщо робити таке порівняння, то потрібно сказати, що кіберспорт базується на цифровому елементі, який є обов'язковим для нього. Для порівняння кіберспорт є більш інтернаціональнішим і гетерогеннішим, ніж традиційні види спорту. І сьогодні ми можемо сказати, що електронний спорт, він виступає і як ігри, і як розваги, дозвілля, як засоби масової інформації, як мистецтво, культура, освіта, бізнес, спорт. Тобто в різних категоріях ми можемо сьогодні зустріти напрям кіберспорту. Кіберспорт є глобальним і локальним, може виступати в якості середовища для спілкування між людьми, може бути навчанням для різної категорії. І подібно до традиційних видів спорту, кіберспорт є платформою для вивчення та залучення позитивних соціальних цінностей. Таких є там справедливість, чесна гра, бажання виступати, командна робота. І сьогодні навички, які притаманні кіберспорту, вони також необхідні для цифрової роботи, наприклад, як креативність, стратегічне мислення, швидкість реакції, командна робота.
The distinction between esports and traditional sports is based on the digital element that is mandatory for esports. Esport is an independent product of digitalization with its own principles and rules. Esports is anchored in gaming, entertainment and media, art and culture, education, business diversity and inclusion. Esports is part of the economy, and esports can be utilized by companies as a tool for employer branding, talent acquisition, or as an internal innovation driver. Similar to traditional sports, esports is a platform for learning and engaging in positive social values such as fair play, willingness to perform, and teamwork. The skills needed in esports are required for digital work as well, such as creativity, focus on performance, motivation in the face of a challenge, strategic thinking, reaction, focus, working memory.
З іншого боку, для кіберспорту характерна низка проблем. До таких проблем ми можемо віднести так звану стигматизацію жінок, тобто різні стереотипи, читерства, нові цифрові засоби компрометації цілісності змагань, розбіжність між контролем видавця та використанням його продукту як внеску суспільства, де впливова позиція видавця, компанії, яка має повний юридичний контроль над назвою кіберспорту завдяки об'єднанню всіх прав експлуатації, використання, комерціалізації, а також екологічна стійкість. Згідно з програмою ООН з охорони довкілля, ігри у всьому світі споживають стільки ж енергії, скільки і 5 мільйонів автомобілів. Ігрові консолі чи комп'ютери також спричиняють 500 мільйонів тонн електронних відходів, що виробляється щороку лише 20%, з яких переробляється.
On the other hand, esports poses challenges such as stigma against women in sports, precautions against cheating, legal power of the publisher, and ecological sustainability. According to the United Nations Environmental Programme, games worldwide consume as much energy as 5 million cars. Gaming consoles or computers also contribute to 50 million tons of electronic and electric waste a year. Only 20% of this is formally recycled.
Якщо ми розглянемо з вами екосистему кіберспорту і подивимось з точки зору зацікавлених сторін, тобто спортсменів, команд, а не з технічного рівня, то гравці, а не відеогра, є основою кожної екосистеми кіберспорту. Вони або безпосередньо беруть участь у змаганнях, чи грають за якусь кіберспортивну організацію, клуб, який можна порівняти з традиційним спортивним клубом. В останньому випадку організація буде брати участь у змаганнях. На рівні вище у нас знаходяться з вами організатори турнірів в традиційних видах спорту. Це спортивні федерації, тоді як в кіберспорті існує так званий дуалізм, який базується саме на законній владі, стратегії видавця, як власника всіх прав на використання і комерціалізацію відеоігор. Федерації кіберспорту можна кваліфікувати як чисто лобістські організації на даному моменті розвитку кіберспорту. І в основу екосистеми кіберспорту можна віднести ще різних партнерів з комерціалізації, таких як потокові та телевізійні платформи, спонсори, інвестори, партнери з реклами, впливово різні особи. Окрім цього, до системи екосистеми кіберспорту можна віднести агентства гравців, різних агентів, новинні видання, операторів платформ, які грають безпосередньо важливу роль в розвитку електронного спорту.
Multiple stakeholders play a role in every esports ecosystem, although not always the same role. They either participate directly in a competition or play for an esports organization, for example, a club. In the latter case, this organization participates in the competition. The legal relationship between the player and the club can take various forms, from obligations under corporate law to obligations under labor law. Traditional sports, there are sports federations, while in esports a dualism exists that is based on the legal power and strategy of the publisher as the holder of the exclusive and unrestricted rights. In addition, players, agencies, new outlets and community platform operators also play a role in esports in the broader context.
Подібно до традиційних видів спорту, тільки 2% гравців у кіберспорті, професіональних гравців, досягають такого рівня, щоб стати найвищого рангу професіоналами. І тому сьогодні кіберспорт, він дозволяє і пропонує дуже велику кількість різних професій, починаючи від тренерської діяльності, різних професій в медіа, і проведення організації івентів, психологи, викладачі, науковці, менеджери і таке інше.
Similar to traditional sports, only about 2% of esports players make it to the level to become professionals. Esports offers a wide range of modern professions such as coaching, media, analysts, streamers, commentators, managers, scientists, and health managers.
На даному слайді ми можемо побачити екосистему на професійному рівні, де можна подивитися, яким чином формуються типи професій, кар'єрні шляхи в майбутньому. Тобто сьогодні можна розділити їх на 4 таких частини, де кіберспорт сприяє кар'єрі журналістів, кіберспортивних коментаторів, розробників ігор, стримерів, рекламодавців, менеджерів, соціальних мереж, тренерів, аналітиків тощо.
This slide shows the possibilities of the ecosystem at a professional level and highlights some of the possible career paths in the future. Esports fosters careers that include journalists, commentators, game developers, streamers, advertisers, SMM managers, coaches, etc.
Якщо кіберспортом займатися в помірних кількостях і він буде частиною збалансованого способу життя, він також є вигідною альтернативою пасивному перегляду медіа, сидіння перед телевізором і використання соціальних мереж. Саме заняття кіберспортом пропонує студентам набуття сьогодні академічних та технічних навичок, які необхідні для успішного навчання та кар'єри як у STEM, так і поза ним. Сьогодні кіберспорт і спільнота, яку він підтримує, може відігравати важливу роль саме у підтримці здоров'я і добробуту студентів як геймерів. І на слайді представлені ті навички, які сьогодні формуються за допомогою електронного спорту, тобто починаючи від лідерських якостей командної роботи і закінчуючи різними більш такими вузькими якостями, як покращення швидкості реакції, концентрації, когнітивних навичок і таке інше.
When practiced in moderation and made part of a balanced lifestyle, esports are an alternative to passively watching media. Participating in esports offers students the academic and technical skills necessary to succeed in learning and careers. There are several skills that can be developed during practicing the esports. For example, teamwork, decision-making, improving reaction time, agility, concentration, and cognitive skills.
Якщо ми з вами проаналізуємо навички, які визначають як навички майбутнього, за даними Всесвітнього економічного форуму, то можна сказати, що ті навички, які сьогодні формуються за допомогою електронного спорту, вони і є цією основою, які представлені на слайді. Це у нас з вами критичне мислення і аналітика, це креативність, це оригінальність, це гнучкість мислення, стресостійкість. Тобто всі ці навички, які сьогодні є основою майбутніх професій, вони формуються і за допомогою електронного спорту.
The skills that an e-sport player needs are among the core skills of the future. They can be grouped in 4 main groups: problem solving, self-management, working with people, technology use, and development. The skills of the future, according to the World Economic Forum, include analytical thinking and innovation, critical thinking, creativity, originality, technology design and programming, resilience, stress tolerance and flexibility, and many others.
В університеті ми почали роботу з 2019 року, формуючи спочатку програму, за якою буде відбуватися підготовка. І ми спочатку розробили програму дій, до якої ввійшли цільова установка та розробка перспективної програми розвитку кіберспорту в нашому університеті. Потім було створено відповідне середовище сприйняття кіберспорту викладачами та студентською молоддю. Фінансування і масштабованість, і стійкість, затребуваність з боку стейкхолдерів, роботодавців, і сама програма розроблялася безпосередньо з участю представників федерації і встановлення зворотнього зв'язку з абітурієнтами.
E-sport studies at the university started in 2019. We developed a course of actions which included target setting and development of a promising program for the development of esports at the university, creation of an appropriate environment for the perception of esports, their funding, scalability and sustainability, demand from stakeholders, employers, and establishing feedback with applicants.
Сьогодні підготовка в університеті здійснюється у нас на 3 рівнях. Ми почали спочатку з магістерського рівня, далі запустили в 2021 році бакалаврський рівень, і на 3-му рівні підготовки доктори філософії у нас на сьогоднішній день вже навчається 6 аспірантів. І дуже важливо, що більшість предметів спеціалізованих забезпечують фахівці, які ми залучаємо зі сторони з кіберспортивної спільноти. Це і тренери, і гравці, представники федерації, стримери, коментатори.
E-sports studies at the National University of Ukraine on Physical Education and Sports is carried out on 3 levels: Bachelor, Master and PhD. We can boast of 6 PhDs by now who are trained and educated by real experts from the fields of management, commentating, training and management.
Це наші викладачі, яких ми запрошуємо з боку федерації і різних спільнот. На сьогоднішній день у нас безпосередньо на магістерському рівні освітній процес включає різні блоки, починаючи зі спеціалізації, де вивчається система підготовки, стратегія, тактика, комп'ютерний геймінг, аналітика, методологія аналітики, теорія і методики тренування. Окремий блок включає у нас психологія, це безпосередньо дисципліни, які дозволяють вивчати особистість гравця, командну взаємодію. Це цілий блок дисциплін з менеджменту і маркетингу, тобто стосовно організації змагань і проведення, спортивне право, менеджмент і маркетинг в кіберспорті. Окремо дисципліни, які дозволяють вивчати піар, коментаторство, стрімінг і низка дисциплін, яка пов'язана з ергономікою в кіберспорті і спортивною медициною.
The main content of the educational process at the master's level include blocks of esports disciplines, psychology, ergonomics, management and marketing, PR, streaming and commentary, journalism, sports medicine, game programming and computer gaming.
На бакалаврському рівні програма розрахована на 4 роки і охоплює широкий перелік дисциплін. Це дисципліни спеціалізації кіберспорту, блок медико-біологічних дисциплін, гуманітарний блок, де особливе значення надається дисципліна мовлення. І особливе місце займає дисципліни, спрямовані на фізичний розвиток, на відновлення гравців, на отримання необхідного обсягу рухової активності. Це у нас плавання, фітнес, рекреація, це спортивні ігри, фітнес, акваеробіка, туризм тощо.
At the bachelor's level, the curriculum is designed for 4 years of study and covers a wide range of disciplines, for example, e-sport disciplines, medical and biological block, humanities, block of disciplines in pedagogy and psychology, fundamentals of training. A special place is occupied by disciplines aimed at physical development and physical training of players. In this way, the university has created conditions for an end-to-end e-sports training at all levels. This makes it possible to form an e-sports ecosystem in Ukraine, where one of the most important elements is education and obtaining modern esports qualifications.
У нас видана, Євгеній Вікторович казав, видана підручник, який на сьогоднішній день містить всі основні дисципліни. Тут є все, що стосується системи підготовки гравців, тренування різних видів там, тактики, стратегії, психологічних основ, низка ці розділи, які присвячені фізичному розвитку і вправам, які може застосовуватися спортсменам, всі розділи, які присвячені медичному забезпеченню, профілактики травм, і окремий розділ присвячений людям з обмеженими можливостями, які теж можуть займатися кіберспортом. І ми сьогодні вже почали роботу з переведення цієї книги як фрагмент на англійській мові. Тут ввійшли поки що 3 розділи, присвячені безпосередньо системі підготовки, психології і оздоровчому напрямку.
We have also issued a book. The book consists of all the above-mentioned fields of study and training based on the curriculum that we have developed. This book will encompass all the important fields of training and studying of the players, and now we are working on translating this book into English. For now we have issued 3 chapters, and soon the whole version will be launched.
Таким чином, ми сьогодні в університеті створили умови для такого наскрізного навчання на всіх рівнях зі спеціалізації кіберспорт. І це дозволяє нам в Україні, в нашому університеті, створювати екосистему, освітню екосистему і спортивну екосистему кіберспорту, де одним із важливих елементів саме є підготовка фахівців з електронного спорту.
Therefore, we can firmly say that we have created an environment for studying and preparation of the experts in esports at our university and in Ukraine, and we believe that we will succeed in this.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tatiana.
Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. Thank you that you gave us a possibility to see how we can educate our students. You create very unique path for education. So once again, thank you very much indeed. And now is a high time for our representatives of Wrocław Agglomeration Development Agency. You are warmly welcome to show us how our city, our major, and our agency support business and e-business.
Thank you, Professor. Good morning. As you can see, my name is Paulina Muszyńska and I am the head of the startup Wrocław team at the Wrocław Agglomeration Development Agency. And first of all, I would like to thank to the organizers of this beautiful event for inviting us and for giving us an opportunity to present the agency, the startup project that I am leading, and the latest report that we've been published, the game dev in the Wrocław agglomeration. So let me first introduce a bit the agency that I am working for. So Wrocław Agglomeration Development Agency is the entity created in 2005, and our aim was to promote the region as the perfect business location. And we supported all the investors that were willing to settle in the Wrocław, not only Wrocław, but also in the entire Wrocław agglomeration. And the agency was the first of its kind agency, this kind of entity that was established in the entire country. We are owned by the 33 communes, that includes also the city of Wrocław. And we, since the beginning, since we started in 2005, we realized more than 250 foreign direct investments and brought to the city and to the agglomeration over 110,000 jobs. And I am representing the business side of the agency, so that's why I'm telling you more about the business, but we are much more. We also have the communication center, we have the promotion and service center, and also the spatial analysis, and we are also the owner of the official website of the city of Wrocław, wrocław.pl. So as for Startup Wrocław that I am mostly representing, we were built 7 years ago to animate the entire ecosystem. We are the official, let's say, coordinator of the community, the ecosystem here in the city, and we integrate, we build bridges, as I always say, we connect the dots. We have the startups, the brilliant startups, over 250 right now. Last year we were the second startup ecosystem in the country, and next week we will have the premiere of the Startup Poland report that will give us the new result of this year's startup ecosystem. We don't know the results yet, but definitely we will share it with you next week. So we build the bridges. We have our startups that we try to connect as much as possible with all the entities that they are interested in. So most of all, this is of course the business, because we have the business part in the agency. So matchmaking the startups and the business is just perfect for us and for the entire city. So there are startups, business, the city institutions, we match them with incubators, accelerators, VC funds, and of course academia. That should be mentioned as first. And how are we doing this? We organize many events, tech and business, that we invite all the members of the ecosystem. We provide them the chance to network, because for startups, for the ecosystem, this is the most important. We have the startup wrocław.pl website where we publish the information, like basic information, what to do to start a startup, and we promote all the brilliant ideas that we have in the city. We also invite our startups for the trade mission abroad. For example, last year we've visited Web Summit. This year we went to Oslo Innovation Week, so any chance to show our startups to the world, we take it. And what else? The reports. This is why I am here, because as I mentioned, 3 months ago we decided a long time ago, but it was a long way. So 3 months ago we published our report, Game Dev in Wrocław agglomeration. So every year we choose one industry, we analyze it, we map it, and we publish reports. So this time we chose game dev. Why did we choose game dev? Because this is one of the most developing industry. This is our Wrocław companies are known not only in the city, not only in the country, but also abroad with the titles that you most probably know. We have Techland, we have 10 Square Games. These are the most important ones, but here in Wrocław I can say that we have 55 up to 60 gaming companies, and in this report we were able to map 25 of them. It was not easy, that's why I'm saying that we started a long time ago, and the result came 3 months ago. So we also follow the innovations. And we discussed what topic, what industry would be the best for us this year. And yes, this is developing, it is the future. And that's why game dev in Wrocław agglomeration. And it could have not happened without the professionals, of course, because we hired friends from Dive in Data company. The representative of the company is here with me. She was responsible for the analysis, for mapping, and all the content that we have in our report. So now please allow me to invite Natalia Kuzma, the CEO of Dive in Data. Thank you very much for the invitation, and thank you for support in making this beautiful report happen.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Paulina, for the introduction. As Paulina mentioned, we were invited to prepare the report on game dev industry in Wrocław agglomeration, and it was very nice to get to know the industry better. So let's start from the beginning. What was the purpose? We wanted to present the landscape of industry in Wrocław. We wanted to compare Wrocław to other big cities in Poland. And also we wanted to identify barriers and opportunities for the potential support of the further developing of the industry in Wrocław. So we based on online survey. As Paulina mentioned, it was 25 companies that took part in, which is quite good, taking into consideration the fact that it's around 50 companies that is working, from the small to large ones. Also, we interviewed nine experts from the industry, from the business and educational background. And we compared the number of game dev studios in different provinces in Poland. And we can say that the Lower Silesian is in the top, together with Mazovian, Laser Poland, and Silesian. But when we look at the specific... Oh, something is wrong. Okay, I believe it's just quite a bit slower than on the computer. Okay. So when we look at the specific city, Wrocław is in the top 3 game dev destination in Poland. It has more than 50 studios from small to large companies. And there are a lot of initiatives for game lovers, for game developers, and for the beginners. So you can, at each step of loving the game, you can find something for yourself. And the developers and game lovers create a very unique community here in Wrocław. Also, last but not least, Wrocław is a good place to set up a company because of the good infrastructure and the culture of innovative city. And we compared not only number of studios, but also number of universities, types of the courses, and number of open jobs in game dev industry. And there are 3 important cities on the map of Polish game dev, which is Warsaw, Kraków, and Wrocław. And our experts during the interviews, they confirmed that Wrocław is where the most exciting growth and development is happening. And we have 6 universities that offers the game dev specific courses. However, most of them are private, which shows that the public ones need to adjust the courses to the needs of the future skills. Nevertheless, this is the challenge not only in Wrocław, but for Poland in general. And now I would like to present a few survey results. So we asked 25 studios about their impression of developing the company in Wrocław and also about themselves. And we can see that most of them is small and medium companies, is between 20 to 49 employees. And half of the surveyed companies operating on the market for less than 5 years, but they are developing dynamically. And also in Wrocław, we have a very a high level of variety between the companies. We can see that they have different business models, starting from the AAA titles, which are the most advanced and the most developed games. But also there are free-to-play models and indie, which stands for kind of independent games. And when it comes to platforms, the most popular are computers, PlayStation, and Xbox. A bit less popular are mobile games. And we can see there is no specific types of developed games. There are RPG, simulators, and strategy, but it's only 12 to 15% of the production. And the most popular programming language is C# and C++. And also, we asked them about the opinion of the attractiveness of Wrocław as the city to develop the company. And more than the half agreed that the city offers very attractive conditions for the industry, and they pointed to relatively good access to qualified workforce, well-developed infrastructure, like a good office spaces, and also they really like the possibility to network, to exchange the experiences with other companies. And also they like that there are events for the industry. Okay. I believe I pressed something. It's not working. It's like the classic problem, yeah? Okay. Tylko nie przełączę się. Okay, dziękuję. Okay, so to sum up, we noticed that over the past few years, Wrocław has become an important center on the map of Polish game dev, and the game developers have a strong connection with Wrocław from the very beginning of the industry. And companies admit that there are areas that are well or very well developed here in Wrocław, but at the same time they also pointed many opportunities to support, to accelerate the development. And the biggest advantage of Wrocław are great human potential, the culture of networking, and the possibility to exchange contacts and experiences. Lots of grassroots initiatives to meet people from the industry, and the educational offer that draws skilled professionals, and also the culture of innovative city that I mentioned. But they also notice some challenges that needs to be addressed. And there is a lack of opportunities to expose the game dev industry on the national level. Also, it's difficult to attract the qualified and experienced staff, because they are compete with large studios which can offer much more benefits and a higher salary. And also, they pointed that the educational offering can be better tailored to the needs of industry, and they would love to have support from the government institutional, like grants or competition for them. And we talked with them and we sum up the conclusion, let's say, and there were 3 repeated ideas during the interviews. And the first one is major industry event. There is a lack of the big event like conference that could show the Wrocław as at national level, as I mentioned. A good example is Digital Dragons conference, which take place every year in Kraków. It's the biggest event in Poland with an international reach. And the next idea is Game Jam, which stands for Competition for Game Developers. They meet for 3 days to design and develop a production. And according to experts from our city, Wrocław has potential to successfully organize a few bigger events like this every year. And the last one is talent support, specifically for the smaller companies, because there are usually enthusiasts who want to develop game, and very often they do it after work, so they may use some help to like the competitions for them to to win, let's say, software licenses or online courses or just funding to travel to trade fairs and industry conference around the world to see how it looks like. So that's the let's say everything about the report, and we are Diving Data, a market research consultancy. And the last one, if you are interested in the report, I highly recommend to download it and to see there is much more about the industry here. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. Thank you, Paulina, to show us how our agglomeration is developing, how you support the ecosystem of gaming, including e-sport. So now I think it's time for maybe for questions. Do you have any questions to the prelegents? Maybe will be easier in the hall. So you are warmly welcome for a coffee break. Thank you very much indeed for this part. We will see again at 11, at a 11:15. Thank you. Wiesz co, ale to na tej prezentacji, co ja będę robił, to nie korzystajmy z tego, podłącz mnie bezpośrednio a potem ze swojego komputera tą prezentację, to wtedy nie będzie się to przesłuchiwało, no nie? Tak czy nie? To z twojego możesz puścić też. No bo rozumiem, że to ten system bezprzewodowy tak się zacina. Troszeczkę, tak? No nie wiem, co wolisz, no bo tak trochę bez sensu, jak to się tak wie. Nie wiadomo, czy się... Tak. No to dobra.
Okay.
Do you want to everything to me?
Okay, thank you.
No, I have a good memory. Bardzo ładnie to wygląda, nawet się ładnie tak skomponowało, ten niebieski kolor, także to na tym. Ja rozumiem, że tam to nie będzie śladu, jak odkleimy.
Aha, no tak, ja mam właśnie prezentację, on też za pewno przychodzi. Dobra, łatwo. Zaraz będzie łączenie jeszcze.
Starożytności Arystoteles, Sokrates przecież łączyli filozofię, ducha i ciało. Można siedzieć przy komputerze tylko i ramolek zawsze.
Aha, dobra. Okay, I think we can start with the second part of our conference. My lecture will be more as an introduction to challenges and dilemmas of e-sport. And after my lectures, we will host Professor Patricia Klimas from our Wrocław University of Economics and Business, and she will take a second part of our conference. So, small technical problems. Okay, so let's see what is a gaming industry. As you see, the gaming industry market is a huge market, so it's reaching exactly 200 billion American dollars, and every year is increasing. So you see the CARC indicators is rising approximately 5% per year. It means that it's going to be a great business and great business ecosystem to develop. You see, the budgets are developing every year, increasing every year. So now we have Olympic Games, we have football games, and we can compare two worlds, the traditional classic games as a football players in Qatar and the similar competition in e-sport area. And I think both these two sectors will develop. And I hope it will be collaborate, because our strategic aim is to find out the way of the collaboration between classic traditional sports and e-sport sector. You see how does it look like gaming market by regions. So the Asia Pacific is absolutely leader, 96, almost 100 billions. It's almost half of the global market. The North America is the second player in the world, 54. And the next parts are, and third place belongs to the Europe. And our countries, Czech, Ukrainian, Poland, are, let's say, important players in this area. So we will see how this statistic will change in the future. But if we look at the number of inhabitants, at the number of teenagers who are the main group of players in the e-sport, I think it's a very optimistic data for developing business ideas. Here you see how is creating the digital entertainment market, and is divided into, let's say, two parts. The one is connected with the type of platforms, and the second is connected by the states of connectivity. And you see that smartphones market is increasing rapidly and take over almost half of the total value of the market. And which company are the leaders? As you see, there are a few main organizations in the gaming market, and they are quite concentrated. Sony, Alphabet, Microsoft, Apple, Bandai Namco. These are the key players on this market. So on the opposite side, we have small one companies. If we compare with this corporation, the market is very fragmented. So it means that this market is highly competitive. And we feel this market from the Wrocław point of view because we are the small market if we compare with the global one. So in that case, we have to be more creative. We have to create the ecosystem. We have to create the market. And we have to fulfill the niche. Our discipline for today and for tomorrow is a, let's say, niche on the market. So we will try to fulfill. So you see, e-sport is a sector of video games organized in the form of competition with the characteristics of the traditional sports. So as you see, the value of global e-sport market is more than 1.2 billion American dollars. It's create also the revenue, which increase every year. Here we have a data from 2020. So it's almost double by 5 years. So, and the line shows us the positive future to forecast that we will still increase this area. So, this revenue streams and numbers of players are focused on the revenue. And as you see, the logos, the brands, well known. So there are plenty of key players in the totally different markets, and they are joining e-sport to support the sales of the cars like BMW, to support the market like Intel, to support the sales of beverages like Red Bull or Coca-Cola. So there are many of companies. At the end of this presentation, I will show you one of the company which also support e-sport, but from our incubator, from this building, from the, let's say, the second floor of this incubator. And how does it look Poland in this market? So you see, we have 70 million gamers who are regularly reaching the mice and keyboards, cell phones, as well as a console, pads. So you see that our population is very attractive for the key e-sport players, because 52 of our population is between 16 and 65. And this market is specifically for the teenagers, because we see how behaves students from the first year of our university, and we see that they are very interesting to join our scientific body, which we organize by our management department and business department, and they are very engaged in our e-sport training center at our university. And monetization of e-sport, it's quite still a new page, white page, because there are a lot of new business models which will be created in the future to, let's say, pick up more money from the market, because it's a very creative area for new business model of monetization. As you see, current trends and innovation in e-sport markets, we see cross-platform gaming, hyper-casual games, cloud and streaming video games, blockchain, and metaverse. So in the short words, we see that the cross-platform gaming, let's say hybrid, is still strong and is representing by the key players, Xbox and others. The hyper-casual games, so it's a games which are easy because they are just simple design and they are still increasing for especially for the youngest. And now we show the new gap for this kind of games for the corporation as a simplification, for example, of the work-life balance activity, to show in a very simple way workers how they are increase their health and efficiency. Cloud and streaming video games, it's a huge market, the streaming, increasing the quality of the internet, efficiency of the internet, and cloud gaming is a revolution, as you see. So that's why we have in these incubators 3 small data rooms with servers, with hardware supported by fast internet, and I'm sure we will use it in the future more. Blockchain. Blockchain is a change gamers of the many business markets. As you see, here we use the blockchain to deliver more secure, especially for a transaction, which we can use in 2 ways, pay to win and pay to earn. So NFT is a next, let's say, generation which used, next generation of payment which use blockchain to secure the transaction. And I think this technology will support this sector, it means e-sports sector, very much, because we don't have any choice, we don't have any technology which could be changed in the next years. So blockchain is an important player on this market. And metaverse, something new, the newest, our second world. Can you imagine that we have to create ourself again, but in the metaverse world? So it's difficult even to imagine. We're afraid of many possible cases which can change our world. We see how the digital twins are burning very quickly. So probably for a while we will have our digital twin, everyone. And we will see how they will live in the, let's say, second space, it means metaverse. So drivers and challenges of metaverse, as you see, are also very optimistic. So forecast is attractive from business point of view, and we have some weaknesses, but weaknesses is related with the cyber security, so cyber attacks, which are, let's say, targeting metaverse and targeting our twins. So blockchain technology and metaversum will try to secure us in the future. And in the end, I would like to show you something for e-sport players, because they play, they should take care about their well-being, they will take care about their physical and mental condition, and they should focus for food which should be reasonable designed. And we, in this case, collaborate with our university, with our medical university to create special ingredients and special food for players and for e-players, to give them the power and concentration for a long time, because these games and this e-sport takes at least a few hours per day. If we look at the Asia, they are play almost whole day. So this is just a IoT and IT and application design at this incubator. So these are some links for the sources, and I would like to say thank you very much for your attention, and I would like to invite the professor which join us online for a while. Yes? Okay. We will have to wait a few minutes because okay. To zapytaj się. Okay. But for the discussion about the possible project, because we have a start discussion during the break. So now maybe we can discuss, because we wait for a professor. So our friends from Prague, what do you think about some new projects, research projects, which we can develop together with the friends from Ukraine? Is it interesting for you?
Yes, thank you. For us, it's really very interesting. I think the field or the focus on the nutrition, it's a very interesting way for us. And right now, we are performing the stakeholder analysis, which is also very interesting, because till this moment, it was not specified what is needed from the specific stakeholders in our market and what we can offer towards them. So it is something which can be also the field where we can cooperate. And also the training programs for the e-sporters, because we are the faculty of the sport education. So these three major pillars, it is something which is very interesting for us.
Thank you so much. For me, it was really interesting to listen Ukraine point of view on e-sport, and I hope that we will speak each other together this evening. Yeah, for us, it's really big inspiration and motivation. Thank you so much.
Both, both. It's just a time for a discussion before connection with the professor.
I'm big speak. Yeah, I do tournament in Ukraine, big tournament. Do European year football tournament. Now we do tournament from Wild Rift, and we're going to students because we don't go to students and don't have pyramids. We have many people who play prof, but we don't have many people who play in students. But now it's interesting if we go into Poland and do Poland, Czech, and all of Europe. It's would a big, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. What I would like to underline is financing way to support the e-sport. There are some EU grants directly from Brussels, but before we get it, we should create some projects, R&D project, infrastructure project like this one. This building is addressed for e-sport. And innovation projects, because the money are available. So this is the one of the hours key and strategic objective for today's discussion, but I'm glad that we have connection with Professor Patricia. She's with us.
Good morning.
Hello, hello, Patricia. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Very fine, thank you. We are waiting for you, and the screen is yours, please.
Okay, thank you, Gregor, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I would like to say I'm sorry because I'm not able to attend this brilliant conference on site. This is because I have some additional meetings today, so unfortunately, I'm not able to be there with you on site. However, I will try to be as best as I can remotely via the internet. So as Gregor said, I will try to present you some outlines, some directions for the future and possible research directions related with the e-sport context. So firstly, I need to make some short introduction. Give me a second. Yeah. So as Gregor said, I'm Patricia Klimas. I work at Wrocław University of Economics and Business, to be more specific, at the Department of Advanced Research in Management. And generally speaking, my research interests, also the scientific ones, are very strongly related with gaming. For a few years, I think maybe 5 or 7, I was trying to investigate how can we perceive different forms and types of ecosystems in the context of video game industry, including also competitive gaming, so the e-sport context. In particular, given a little bit more theoretical perspective, I'm very interested in co-opetition. Co-opetition means cooperation of business rivals, cooperation of market rivals, cooperation of competitors. So I'm trying to find out why they cooperate. We assume that they should compete on the market, but sometimes they are trying to do something together. So I'm trying to investigate why, how, to what extent, if they can believe or trust each other, etc., etc. And the most of my projects, no matter if we are thinking about projects carried out on the Polish ground or maybe also on European ground, are related with those issues. I mean, cooperation, especially in the video game and e-sport context. And today, as Gregor asked me, I will try to show you what kind of research can be carried out in the context of e-sport, because as you probably know, we are living in a moment when the e-sport, as even Grzegorz was presenting some statistics, e-sport gains in interest, it gains in popularity. So we can find more and more information, data, statistic about the national or global e-sport issues. But quite huge amount of those statistics and research are not scientific. They are rather prepared by some consulting companies, market agencies, market institutions, and not always we can build the valid and reliable knowledge based on those information, those data, because not always they are gathered in a proper way. So today I will try to show you where we are when it comes to the scientific knowledge and scientific research. So what have been done so far, and on the other hand, when we should go in a nearer or farther future. So yeah, some references as we are trying to talk about scientific issues. Definitely, I have to share with you some sources to which you can also go if you are interested in more details. But yeah, let's go to those research directions. So the first part referred to the research or knowledge which have been presented somewhere in the scientific publications. But before we start to talk about those things which have been done so far, the first thing which should we discuss at the beginning is the difference between the research and scientific research. Sometimes when I'm running the first classes from the methodology for my students, I'm trying to tell them that it is not a good idea to run the research for their thesis when they are trying to collect the data from their friends via Facebook or via WhatsApp. Also, it is not a good idea to stop people on the street and ask them questions from the questionnaire. It's not a science. It's not a research process which is methodologically rigorous. And when we try to run scientific research, we believe that meeting the requirements imposed by the methodological rigor is important, because only then we can build the relevant knowledge on those data, on those conclusions drawn from those data. So we are trying to think about, as you can see, purposeful or representative sampling. We are trying to think about different forms of validities, which can be reached only if we prepare the research tool in a proper manner, and only if we treat the data and analyze the data using the methods which are appropriate to the type of data which has been collected. So naturally, there are some research run not necessarily by universities or by scholars, but carried out in a proper way. Like, for example, the reports prepared by Deloitte last month, they published the latest report about the e-sport market in the European context. In that report, for example, you can find the special section devoted to the methodological issues. So such reports are trustworthy, but not always is that case. Yeah, not always there is appropriate level of awareness about the methodological issues. Another good example, there are statistics and reports prepared by Newzoo, but what also is characteristic for those reports, reports prepared by Newzoo or Deloitte, is the fact that both those organizations are paying huge attention to descriptive statistics. That is why we have some percentages, we have some different configurations of types of the players, viewers, teams, revenue streams, monetization models, etc. However, in scientific research, we do not stop on descriptive statistics. We are going a little bit farther. We are trying to, for example, find out how those different statistics or data can be related, if one issue can impact on another. So this is more industry or market perspective on the research in the context of esport. However, we can also try to think about more scientific perspective. And when it comes to the scientific view, we can distinguish several areas in which so far research has been done. The first area refers to players, and here you can see on the slide the core directions in which the data and analysis have been done so far. So the general topics like the process of becoming a player, the characteristic, cultural, money-related, proficiency-related characteristic of players, but also motivations. This is very huge amount of research. So the focus is given to the factors and triggers, motivators, which can trigger or even leverage the interest in esport events, esport games, etc. Also, you can see that more soft issues are interesting for researcher, like subjective well-being, parasocial relationships, or sports fandom. So, first aspect, the players. Then another stream of research refer to, I can say, more economic perspective, because those research are trying to focus on the consumption and consumption models, which can be characteristic for the people, players and viewers related with esport. So first aspect, consumption behaviors. So especially the hours watched, the streamers watched, streamers followed, etc. Then extremely huge part of studies is devoted to esport consumption model. And this model covers, as you can see, 6 specific building blocks. So hedonic motivation, habit, price value, effort, expectancies, social influence, and flow. And the scholars are trying to investigate if those different components of esport consumption model impact, for example, on the frequency of watching esport or playing if you are a member of the team. And then also some aspects which can, to some extent, predict the esport viewers' consumption behaviors, like, for example, escape, family, social interaction. So consumption models. And when we try to think about specific examples in that field of interest, so for example, the studies run by the team Young and Bayon, they were able to publish several papers in which they were trying to investigate how those components of consumption model in the esport context impact, for example, in that case, on esport gameplay intention. Interestingly, they also were trying to find out if there are some variables which can differentiate the results, differentiate this impact made by the consumption model on the gameplay intention. For example, in this particular study, this variable, there was the gender. Another research run by the same team, as you can see, we have 3 contour variables, so they were trying to differentiate the results also using player identification and team identification. And what is even more, they found out that not only the consumption model of the esport viewers impact on the esport gameplay intention, but also that this gameplay intention has a further impact on gameplay behavior and even media consumption of esports events. So as you can see, those research, more scientific one, are definitely much more sophisticated than the one presented by market agencies or consulting companies. So we had players, we had consumption models, and then we have the third area related with engagement, especially engagement related with live streaming, as you can see, considered through the perspective of the time spent live streaming, channel subscriptions, and amount of money donated by the viewers. And definitely the leadership position is held by Twitch. However, those the popularity is changing all the time. So the studies are running quite often. Also, when it comes to more industry-related research, we can find some statistics which are presenting, for example, the level of the maturity of the engagement, as you can see on the left side of the slide. However, in more scientific context, scholars, especially the Scandinavian ones, are interested in the types of live streaming, and they were able so far to distinguish several types through which we can try to consider, for example, the engagement of the players. Another issue is that sometimes this engagement, so important for the e-sport, can be perceived as something, I mean, as a variable which has a further impact on something else, for example, on purchase intent, on community engagement, co-production, word of mouth, or new player recruitment. All of those hypotheses have been supported as statistically valid. Next, the fourth area of research so far, genders, genders. So here we can distinguish different approaches of scholars to divide based on some criteria explored during the field studies. The criteria based on which we can categorize the game genders, and also later on the type of the genders can differentiate the consumption models or the level of engagement. Again, on the other side of the story, we have research run by, for example, Deloitte in that case, and they are trying to also find out which type of genders are more popular, which are less popular among the players or the teams. Yeah, and we have motivations. A motivation, extremely huge pool of research which have been done so far. And those research, as you can see on the slide, in some summarizing study run by Ries and Hallman, they were able to find out that, to be honest, the majority of publications, scientific ones, which are presenting results from the research run in the e-sport context, the majority of them, because 15 per 25, present some issues related with motivation. So definitely this is the most often explored area when it comes to scientific research. So you can see that among the motives considered so far, we have achievement, aesthetics, enjoyment, escapism, novelty, self-esteem, skill improvement, etc., etc. And indeed, we have a lot of different statistical models which are trying to not only identify those motives which are relevant, which are impactful in practice, but also those studies are trying to find if those motives have some impact, for example, on consumption, on the choice of the live streaming platforms, etc., etc. Sometimes it is also quite interesting that sometimes the studies can provide some, I can say, can give us some surprises, because as in that research run by the colleagues from Scandinavia, they were able to find out that some motives, even though are identified as important, as relevant, when we run more sophisticated analysis, we are able to see that not always those motivations are important. For example, when we consider them as impacting the frequency of watching e-sport events or plays. So, for example, as you can see, those on gray, in a gray font, those motivations have been considered or identified as not statistically relevant. But also, quite surprisingly, the last one in a red font, the aesthetic aspects have been identified as something which significantly impact watching frequency. However, this impact is not positive; it is rather negative. So now we can say that this is a moment when we can try to run additional studies to find the answer why we received such surprising results. And naturally, we have more and more different models which are trying to consider different types of factors in different types of configurations, and they are trying to link those factors with different dependent variables. Sometimes, another example, not all issues considered are identified as relevant. As you can see on the left, we had 5 features related with demographics. We had age, gender, marital status, household income, and highest completed education considered among the motivations. While after the analysis, 3 of them were found as irrelevant. I mean, the material status, household income, or highest completed education. But again, gender and age have been found as important. So this is the quite short snapshot about the current status, current stock of knowledge and research which we have in scientific research, the scientific outputs. So let's try to think about the future. What and who can we investigate in the e-sport context to provide new outcomes, new results, which can bring us closer to the cumulative knowledge development. And the first perspective which we can try to adopt is the ecosystem approach. For those of you who are not familiar with the ecosystem, generally speaking, ecosystem approach or perspective, in strategic management, we used to thought that every single company on the market should compete, that every company has some resources and is trying to use those resources to fight on the market, to be the best on the market. But right now, in the 21st century, we know that not always competition is the best solution, that sometimes we have to cooperate. And there are different forms of ideas and approaches which can try to give an answer how to cooperate on the market instead of competing. And among the most popular ones nowadays, there is ecosystem approach in which we assume that firms and other organizations, other market members should try to cooperate on the market. But not only organizations should try to cooperate, also individuals and the communities of individuals should be invited to the ecosystem, to the cooperation, and all of them should together try to create, or to be more specific, co-create the value delivered to the customers. So not competition, rather cooperation in quite loose, boundaryless configurations under the ecosystem. And when it comes to the structure of ecosystem, which is usually considered as a pillar of ecosystem approach, the literature based on research in many different industries is saying that we should consider always 3 different building blocks of every single ecosystem. That always we have some actors, always we have some activities which are linking those actors, and always we have some artifacts, some results which are generated, which are provided through the cooperation of the actors. And when it comes to ecosystem context, you can see on the left side of the slide, you can see the composition of the ecosystem proposed by Newzoo. As you can see, we have professional competitive gaming in the core. We have some teams, publishers, leagues, tournaments. We have channels and amateurs of competitive gaming. So there is a connection between the theory and more practical view. So let's try to think about the actors. And here, the literature is providing some ideas. What kind of actors should be considered under the ecosystem in the e-sport context? As you can see, we have a lot of different actors. We have entrepreneurs, we have players, game developers, community, commentators. Another idea developed by Jelonen is that there are some even layers on those actors. So there are actors more closely related with esport games, and then we have layers which are more distant, more indirectly related with the events, for example. But what we know from the more practical perspective, again, that there are actors which can be labeled as viewers. Also, they can be somehow categorized based on the engagement into esport activities. As you can see, hardcore viewers, heavy viewers, regular viewers, occasional viewers. We have also those broadcasting channels, platforms via which we can watch the esport events and games. But also we have the teams, we have leagues, etc. But when it comes to the research which has been done so far, the vast majority of those research refer to players or teams. The rest of the actors remains unexplored. So this can be seen as a quite interesting area for the research for the future. Another aspect which can be related somehow with individuals and when they are investigated in scientific research is that mainly the data is collected from male part of the audience. However, we know even from the video game industry that the female part of the story is growing. So maybe also the wider focus should be given to this type of the audience. Actors should be linked via activities inside the ecosystem. So again, when it comes to the current stock of knowledge, there are some so far conceptual ideas, what kind of activities can be considered related with, again, with promotion, with marketing, with organization of the events, so advertisement activities, some broadcasting issues related, competition between the teams and between the leagues. However, still, rather those models or those frameworks remains just conceptual. They have not been investigated in and tested in a field studies. Interestingly, when we take the research carried out in other industries, we can find a lot of information and models how those activities can be organized under the ecosystem, that there are some stages of those activities, that different actors can be engaged in different activities, that their engagement into activities can be different at different stages of value co-creation. Those informations are totally missing in the case of ecosystem context. So probably it would be interesting to find out not only what kind of actors are really inside the esport ecosystem, but how they can be engaged into the co-creation activities. If their engagement all the time at different stages of co-creation processes is the same, maybe it changes over the time, who is the most important at particular phase of co-creation. All of those information can be important, for example, to leverage the performance of the entire ecosystem and also to push the entire industry even at the higher level of development. And last but not least, part of the ecosystem perspective refers to the artifacts. So the pure effects of the ecosystem, activity of the value co-creation which happens inside the ecosystem. And here again, there are some ideas how can we grasp those artifacts through, for example, money or value streams between different actors. But again, a lot of those information remains not tested in the field studies. Also, there are some ideas that to create the really huge value inside esport ecosystem, it is important to combine different forms and types of resources. As you can see, informational, relationship related, organizational, human, technological. So the question is, who possess those resources, I mean, who in terms of the actors from the ecosystem, who can share those resources, who want to share those resources, on what base, on what kind of contract, to what extent, because some of them can be tacit, can be important for protection of competitive advantage, etc., etc. So we know at this moment that there are some specific type of resources important for value creation in esport ecosystem, but not necessarily we know who possess those resources and how they should be combined. When we try to think about a related industry, I mean video game industry, the games related with entertainment, definitely we can find a lot of proofs that artifacts are available on the market. I mean the results of co-creation, and interestingly, the most important co-creator for game developers, there are gaming communities and the gamers who, as you can see, can be engaged at different stages of video game development process. And through those different activities at different stages can give some input to the value co-creation process. So the question is, again, how it looks in the case of esport ecosystem, because every ecosystem, and we know that from many of the research, ecosystems are very sensitive to the industry. So the story looks totally different in gaming, in museums, in high-tech industries. So the question is how it looks in the case of esport. Another issue, which also is important for esport, another, I would say, theoretical perspective which can be adopted, refers to business models. And as Grzegorz said before my presentation, there is quite huge focus on monetization models, on business models which can be adapted or should be adapted in the case of esport related organizations. So when we try to screen the reports and research available on the internet or via academic databases, we can find that a lot of information boil down the perspective to money-related issues. So we have the focus on revenues, we have the focus on costs. However, when we take the perspective of business models, which are considered in the ground of strategic management or entrepreneurship, then we will find out that not only money is important, that next to the costs, the structure of revenues, the structure of costs, the dynamics of those money-related issues, there are other aspects which should be considered and should be managed somehow. Here we have, I think, the most popular approach to business model structurization provided by Osterwalder and Penguin, which consider that we have 9 building blocks. 9. While so far in the ecosystems, when business models are considered, mainly the focus is given to only 2 of them. I mean to the revenues and to cost. But we have also, as you can see, key activities, the value proposition, customer relationships, etc., etc. And this is not the only one approach which can be adopted in the context of business models. We have the St. Gallen triangle, we have BMW model, but all of those models, no matter which one will be chosen to adopt, always there is a money inside, but money is not the sufficient or the only one component of the business model. So in the context of ecosystem, it is important to think about the rest, about the remaining building blocks, which so far have been overmissed in research. And interestingly, here you can see some findings from the gaming industry. Interestingly, the actors who operate in the ecosystem, they are very differentiated in terms of the building blocks of the ecosystem. So, for example, the key activities important for particular actors can be different. Here we have resources important for different game developers, different in terms of the monetization model adopted in their games. So for some of them, mainly for those producing free-to-play games, human resources are the most important. However, for those which produce premium games on the premium segment, information resource and financial resource are more important than human resources. So again, the question is how it looks in the context of e-sport. At this moment, we don't know. This one I will skip. And then third perspective, which can be adopted when we try to answer the question, what and who can we investigate in the e-sport context? There are some very specific future research directions outlined by scholars who are for many years focused on scientific investigations in that specific industrial context. So what they are saying, we can try to categorize those ideas, those directions for future research into four perspectives. The first, the thematic perspective, they are trying to tell us that we should definitely run even more studies in the context of motivation related issues. As I said, even right now, the motives are the most often recognized area of research. However, further studies, as you can see, are needed. But also, we need research on decision-making processes, on the ways in which the value is really co-created by the actors, for example, engaged into e-sport ecosystem, and how those behaviors of consumers, the consumption models are changing, because also the changes can be observed right now. The second perspective may be less important for practitioners, but for scholars, definitely interesting, the theoretical perspective. First, new theoretical frameworks or models which can consider or will consider the uniqueness of the esports characteristic. It is very unusual industry. The consumption models, and we know it even right now, are different than in the case of other industries, including other entertainment industries. So the question is, which of those frameworks which we have already available in science can be adopted also in this very different context? Yeah, what kind of novelties can be introduced when it comes to the models of the traditional motivation? So again, the issue related with motives. Interesting idea to run the studies about other types of ecosystem. What we know so far is that ecosystems can be adopted in the field of e-sport in different forms. For example, scholars are using the concept of platform ecosystem or service ecosystem or even e-sport ecosystem. However, we have also other concepts like innovation ecosystems, knowledge ecosystems, entrepreneurship ecosystems. And the question is if and to what extent those concepts can be helpful to understand the e-sport phenomenon in greater details. And business models, as we said, how those other building blocks, which so far have been overmissed, can be described in this industrial context. The third area of research directions can be related with methodological perspective. This is more critical view on the studies which have been carried out so far. What we definitely miss is longitudinal approach to the phenomena which are studied. Definitely, as you know, being a part of the team, being a viewer of sport events and games, this is a process. It takes time. It's dynamic. while a lot of research which have been done adopt very static approach. So we need definitely more dynamic perspective, and that is why longitudinal studies are recommended for the future. Another issue is to consider different variables which can play the role of moderators. We have different models from the literature which are trying to tell us how something, for example, motivations, impact on something else. For example, of the frequency of watching, I would say maybe something via Twitch. But right now we should try to go farther. So not only how looks the impact, but if there is something which can impact this relationship between motivation and the fact that somebody is watching some event via Twitch. So we know that, for example, gender has been considered as a moderator variable, but the question is if there are other variables which also can really differentiate the findings. So moderator variable, but also mediator variable, which even strengthened the relationship between the direct relationship between two variables. Next methodological recommendation is I have to admit that for me it was very surprising that in the context of e-sport, when we try to analyze what kind of research have been done so far, it is very surprising that we have a lot of research which are very sophisticated in statistical manner. They are very well developed. They are very often quantitative. Because it is surprising, because usually when we are thinking about new phenomena, at the beginning we adopt more explorative approach, more qualitative related techniques or methods are adapted. So we are not, collect a lot of quantitative data. We are not testing different sophisticated models because it is too early. Firstly, we have to understand some phenomena. While in the context of ecosystem, we have totally opposite situation. We have a lot of data, quantitative ones. However, we are missing from qualitative evidence. So that is why scholars who are in that area of research, they are strongly recommending that, okay, we need to make a one step back. We have to try to think about wider perspective. So that is why mixed research or even very directly qualitative methods are shown as important for future research. Because we know that there are some motivations which impact on the frequency of watching games, for example, but we don't know why. We don't know why those motivators are relevant while others are not relevant. We need some more explorative answers and descriptions. And again, what is indicated by scholars from the methodological perspective is that we need data collected from different sources. Not only the viewers are a part of the story. Also, we should try to think about asking questions among the teams, among the organizations, among public institutions, maybe students who are studying some courses related with e-sport. So our very heterogeneous pool of informants should be considered, not only very narrow view on players and usually male players to the greatest extent. So, yeah, how can we, or rather should we, run the research in e-sport context? At the end, I can say that given more methodological perspective, when we are trying to think about running statistically valid and rigorous research, which can, I think, deserve for the support from financial support from public institutions, research institutions, scientific institutions, ministries of science, etc. We can try to consider two two ways. The first referred to desk research, so we are trying to collect the secondary data which are already available somewhere there, usually on the internet. And the other idea is to run the field research when we are trying to collect primary data from those different types of informants. So when it comes to desk research, we have different options which can be chosen. We can naturally go through different reports, statistics, prepared and presented by Deloitte, Eurostat, etc. We can also collect data on our own via internet, very narrow information, very narrow data. However, what we should somewhere there back in our minds is that not always the quality of those informations about, available via internet is valid and the quality is appropriate. And if we try to run scientific research, this is important that the quality is quite high. To collect the data, we can say it very narrowly, okay, let's go through the internet. But probably you know that we have special academic databases which are indexing the knowledge. They are indexing scientific publications, and we can find the information using those databases like EBSCO or Web of Science. But also we can try to use less rigorous secondary data sources like those industry or government materials. We can use some working papers, conference papers, and here we can use, I can say that I would start with Google Scholar, because there we can find more relevant information than via the traditional Google browser. And also, when we use, for example, those academic databases, not necessarily we have to, read all of those research which have been done so far, because not always we have time for that. Sometimes we can use some synthesis, some analysis of previous research that run by other scholars. Usually those synthesis or analysis are published as a systematic literature reviews on a given topic in a given field. Like this case that you can see on the slide, the research of the literature run by Ries and Harman, who were interested in answering the question, why do people watch? We can imagine that they were interested in watching e-sport events and e-sport games. And they were very rigorously, very critically analyzed 25 papers, 25 publications which were related with these specific questions. So we can rely on the findings provided from the systematic literature reviews. I can say that even the fact that still we, in the literature, there is no many available systematic literature review, this proves that still there is a huge, extremely huge research gap in the context of ecosystem studies run more in a scientific approach. Quite often, the research which are available are very descriptive, as you can see, for example, what kind of theoretical perspective is adopted, in what kind of papers the studies have been published so far, what kind of industry components have been investigated, what were the nationalities of scholars who were running the investigation. So very basic information. This proves, as I said, that the field is very, very unmature at this moment. And then we can also, if we have more money and more time, we can try to run field research. So we can try to collect data from informants. And generally speaking, we can choose two options at the same time. We can run mixed research, but we can choose either qualitative or quantitative approach. The main difference between those two is that qualitative studies are more focused on exploration, and definitely we follow inductive reasoning. So there is an egg, so probably there is somewhere in the future there will be a chicken. While in the quantitative approach, we are more focused on explanation, on testing hypothesis. So deductive reasoning stands behind. So we have a chicken, so probably somewhere there in the past there was an egg. So this is the main difference. And as I said, interestingly, in the context of ecosystem, definitely the vast majority of research has been run in the quantitative, explanative, deductive-based approach, while rather we should try to think about the second part of the story. So more qualitative explanations, explorations, and inductive reasoning is definitely needed. When it comes to quantitative approach, this is also quite obvious that there is a difference between the reports provided by those companies like Newzoo or Deloitte or PwC or McKinsey, because they are providing a lot of descriptive research on population, on game genres, on players, on teams. So a lot of descriptive research, so a lot of numbers, market shares, etc. Sometimes they are trying also to make descriptive and predictive research in which they are trying to make some forecasts about the future. But when it comes to more scientific approach, the quantitative studies, as you were able to see through the slides, they are much more sophisticated. We are not finishing on the descriptive statistic, we are going further, we are investigating causal relationships, some impacts, etc., etc. But yeah, this is one of the examples. But what we definitely need, and this is the thing which I would like to finish, is that, okay, we know that there are a lot of numbers, that there are some significant arrows, that there are some significant hypotheses, but be honest, we not necessarily know why those arrows are important, why some of other arrows are not important if in those models. So the next step, as I said earlier, should be, I think, a little bit considered as a step which is going back, because we should try to think about the qualitative approach, finding some explorative answer. But if we have enough money, time, and research skills, we can also try to think about a combination, about running the research which will combine both approaches, I mean qualitative and quantitative, because those research have been acknowledged as the most fruitful when it comes to delivering very valid and relevant knowledge. So yeah, that's all from my side. To give a short summary, I would say that we know a lot. More quantitative issues have been considered so far, but in the future, the studies should rather explain the knowledge which already exists, or maybe even try to explore new areas, for example, in the context of ecosystems, business models, or those specific detailed directions which are recommended by scholars. So that's all. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any kind of the questions, I will try to answer them. Also, you can contact me via email in the future to, to be in touch if you have any kind of the issues worth of discussion. Do not hesitate to contact me also via email. Thank you very much.
Bravo, bravo. Patricia, thank you very much. I'm really impressed. Do you hear us?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So you show us how we should follow your suggestions. I think we will have a few questions, maybe someone, because I have at least a few one, but maybe someone wants. Yes, okay. So please, the second microphone.
Thank you for nice presentation. You described many areas of possibilities of future research, and it was really very nice. And we are from the university. We are from the Charles University in Prague, the Faculty of Sports. And I think that in Czech Republic, let me explain in short
please,
what
yes,
are the
please.
situation in Czech Republic. In Czech Republic, it is nice to perform some quantitative analysis, but I think there is the commercial part of e-sport and then the research part of the e-sport. And the university doesn't have a simple role and doesn't have an easy role, because the support from the sport area and from the sport community, it's not so good as we expect. So we have to overcome this problem, and we have to focus our researchers more towards the qualitative data, I think. Because if we want to create the global environment, not only Czech Republic, but I think a global environment for example, Middle Europe or something like that, for the producer of the digital technology and so on, we have to understand how the stakeholder management works in the country. And for example, where the role of the university is stated. And it's not simple. So for now, we are trying to understand how can the university contribute, and where can be the role of the university towards the e-sport environment. What we can do for the other stakeholders, for the producers, for the, I don't know, Minister of Health and so on. And I think that for these purposes, it's very important to start some qualitative research. And I'll be very interested if you have a similar opinion, or if you give me some recommendation for some interesting studies which were focused on the same way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I definitely agree. I would even say that I don't know how it looks in Czech Republic, but in Poland, I know that not only the question when you think about university's role in the context of e-sport ecosystem, gaming ecosystem. So not only the question is what is the role of universities, or what kind of the role should be taken by the universities. I think that also for the universities, it is sometimes difficult to understand that such industries like e-sport or games, that those industries are worth of running scientific research. When I started my adventure with video game industry, for me, one of the biggest obstacles, but it was, I think, 7 years ago. One of the biggest obstacles in the international conferences was to convince professors, to convince funding institutions, and also to convince editors who are, giving you an opportunity to publish your results, that it is possible to do the science and scientific research in those industries. Luckily, I think that it's changed. So the perception of those industries by the universities is now better. And also it is easier to convince the industry that universities can be helpful, can really give some contribution to their activity, to their business models, etc.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Professor Czesław Zając.
Yeah, it works. Hello.
Yes. Hello, Patricia. Fantastic as usual. Thank you for your presentation today. But you portrayed different dimensions of this very interesting field, I mean, e-sport. But just talking about, of course, we are interested in commercial side. It's important how to prepare some projects, how to attract people, etc., etc. But talking from the side of researching point, yes, I'm 100% convinced, and I think you. So my question is, please share us your opinion, your point of view. I'm 100% convinced that e-sport is still a new or even a very new field of research, both in Poland and in the world. So if I am thinking about PhD candidates, for example, for me it's fantastic opportunity for them when they are seeking field of investigations, field of researching, because as I know, we have a few, almost no PhD dissertations still in our university in Poland devoted that issue. So what do you think? And just the last comment. Combination, you mentioned during your last part of your presentation, combination of, as a colleague from Prague said, qualitative and quantitative approach to this research should be the most profitable, in my point of view, as a research yes, activity. So what do you think about that?
Thank you very much, Czesław. Yeah, the first thing is that definitely I share your opinion that the field of research when it comes to the context of e-sport, no matter what aspect we are thinking about, consumption models, motivations, behaviors, etc., is at the early stages of the life cycle. Because even though we have those quantitative models, as I said, still the number of the research is quite few. Another part of the story, as I said before, I was really surprised when I was trying to collect information about the past studies that we have some statistics and quantitative publications. However, we are missing from qualitative approach, from those findings which are, generated at the beginning of knowledge creation. We are missing that. That is why I think that more qualitative approach is needed in the future. And definitely, it is quite promising area of investigation for doctoral students. I think that one of the problems with PhD students, if I can say in that way, is that not always they have enough passion to the topic in which they are engaged in their dissertation journey. I know that a lot of young people, also PhD students, they are players, they are viewers, of esport events. So also it can be a good idea to run the studies in that field, because if they are the passionates of esport, it definitely will be easier to run the research and to finish PhD studies and to get the doctoral diploma at the end. And definitely I recommend the mixed studies. However, I think that the most appropriate approach depends on the specific topic which will be investigated. Because if we try to think about those motivations, which have been considered by many different scholars, and there is a lot of data available right now, but as I said, we don't have explanations, we don't have the reasons why those models look like that as we see them in the publications. So in that case, I would recommend qualitative studies. But if we find something, and I think it's not a difficult task, because there is a lot of blind spots in that research context. If we find something new which have not been considered even in those available quantitative studies, this can be a very nice idea to run a mixed studies. So let's go through exploration with quantitative approach, then test those findings using quantitative, and if we are not satisfied with the results, or maybe if we are surprised with the findings from the model testing, we can run the second wave of qualitative studies to find the answer why the results of hypothesis testing looks in that way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your answer, for your advice for us. So I have a few questions, but I try to focus on your experience. Would you advise us which direction we should follow? What kind of gap we try to fulfill? Maybe we should focus on the players, maybe on the ecosystems, or to make some researches about the motivation, engagement. You show us the huge number of almost ready research models to use it. Which one would you recommend us as a beginners? Because we are talking about the Polish side. We are the beginners in the e-sport from our university point of.
Okay, thank you, Grzegorz. So even today in the morning, I had a meeting in the National Science Center, and we were evaluating some grant proposals. And I think that I would give my recommendation having in mind that probably we also need the financial support for those research. So the question is, what kind of research has the potential to be financed by such institutions like National Science Center or European Council? So I would say that definitely such institutions, they are interested in dynamic industries, and this issue we can say that we have it. So okay, it's done. Second aspect, some theories which are quite new, they are developing quite fast. So given those which were presented today, I would say that probably ecosystem approach can be interesting because it is still quite novel in the science, in the management science, and in the economy, in the regional development. So ecosystem approach, and when it comes to the entities which should be investigated, I would resign from further or new studies run on individuals, because we have a lot of data, and also Deloitte or McKinsey, they are running a lot of surveys on players, on team members, etc. What we miss definitely is the focus on organizations. So not only the firms which are, organizing the events, but different types of organizational actors engage into the ecosystem of esport. So 3 issues: interesting industry, and we have ecosystem, interesting and fast developing theoretical perspective. I would say ecosystem approach fits those criteria. And the third issue is the focus on not investigated so intensively actors, and I think the organizational actors would be the best choice. And when it comes to the methodological approach, I would recommend mixed research. Given my experience on evaluation of different grant proposals, this approach in social sciences right now gains the highest interest, and also possibility for funding at the same time.
Okay, thank you, Patricia, for advice.
You're
like
welcome.
your view from the founding side, because actually European Council is organized a new call on March 23, which is related with management and business models of entertainment and gaming sector.
So this is amazing and brilliant information.
Yes. So I invite you to the team as a highly
thank you.
professional expert in e-sport and in methodological aspects of the researches. You are really advanced researcher. Thank you very much for your presentation, for your discussion, for sharing your experience. and I saw that you have a great chair behind you.
Yeah, yes,
Do
I
you
have to.
enjoy it a lot?
Yeah,
Is it comfortable?
I'm not a game player at all. However, as I run the research in gaming industry, I have the appropriate chair. It has to match.
I see. Okay. Once again, Patricia, thank you very much. Thank you very much for very interesting lectures.
I would
hope
like
we
to say
will
big
see.
thanks to you. It was a great pleasure to be with you, at least remotely. I wish you, very fruitful conferences. I know that you have planned some competition based on case study methodology, which is qualitative one. So I wish you a lot of luck. Go beyond the borders, beyond the limitations, and investigate the best business models for the 4 types of esports games as it is possible.
Thank you very much indeed. See you soon, Patricia. Bye.
See you. I will watch you via YouTube. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you very much for the discussion. So now is a lunchtime. So you are warmly welcome to the restaurant. Okay, thank you very much. And we will see at 1:45. Okay, thank you very much.